Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video, we are looking at Oracle. It is time for another update. And on this chart, it may seem like we haven't done too much since the previous video, but I believe we have actually done enough to provide a confirmation that a more substantial bottom might in fact be in place. I believe for anyone interested in this stock, this is the time to plan because we are looking at an initial 5-week move to the upside from the latest lows in this overall internal correction. Now, let's provide the context for this chart before we get into the details. So, we focus on the structure from the 2002 low, right? We have this as a larger ending diagonal, and within this pattern, we are looking to build a 5-wave structure, of course. Now, this 5-wave structure would have already the wave 1 in place, the wave 2 in place, and I would expect the wave 3 to actually be extending even further. Within this wave 3, I am of course tracking an A, B, C pattern internally, where we would be towards the later stages of the wave C itself, meaning we would be towards the quite late stages of the entire wave 3. But I would currently still expect continuation to new all-time highs before we would have a top in place, before we would start our larger wave 4 correction. So within this wave C, I am tracking internally an ending diagonal as well. I am looking for this to have been the wave 1 up, the wave 2 down here, and this latest extension to new all-time highs would have been the wave 3 itself, which typically is the strongest wave of such a structure. Then I am looking for what happened afterwards and until most recently to have been a potential wave 4 bottom. Now, to be honest, this is not exactly perfect, this is not exactly ideal. This wave 4 is probably like 30% shorter in terms of time frame compared to the wave 2. Typically, the wave 4 is actually longer, so on that front, it's not particularly ideal, but this is what we have in place currently. Now, I would consider the possibility of this wave 4 still extending to lower prices. The area of support does allow it down to $118.6. Yes, as long as we hold this level, as long as we do not get a sustained break below it, I would still be preferring an extension to new all-time highs within this structure. We also have structural support exactly on the line there, exactly on the Fibonacci retracement, and I actually do not consider it to be necessary because the wave 4 itself has a potentially complete count, but if it happens to extend lower, well, that would be my level that I actually do not want to see broken, right? Again, not a sustained break. If it's brief, that can be acceptable, especially in the context of an ending diagonal, especially if we get like into the wave 1 territory, that would be even ideal with a swift bounce back and a push into new all-time highs from these prices. But there is no guarantee it will actually reach those levels. There is no guarantee that the wave 5 hasn't already started. In fact, we even have an initial confirmation because we have formed the initial 5-week move to the upside from the latest low within this wave 4. Now, before we move into the smaller time frame, I also wanted to highlight the RSI, which is showing a hidden bullish divergence. Here, we see that within this extension to lower prices, we have formed a higher low. That is typically bullish. No one can truly deny that, but on the RSI, we have instead formed a lower low. Well, that is what a hidden bullish divergence is. If we go on the monthly, we actually see the same thing, the same idea. Higher low on the price chart, lower low on the RSI. This has gotten near levels we haven't seen on the RSI since we actually bottomed within the wave 2 itself, when the price was at less than 40% of the current level. So this is something to consider when looking at the overall picture. Now, in the structure itself, we have been tracking two primary counts. One that would imply a more substantial bottom would be in place, right, within this wave 4 in yellow. We have been tracking this white scenario for the potential idea of an ABC structure, where within this wave C, we had actually fulfilled the expectations once when we extended in this structure to new lows, but of course, we have been looking for further evidence that this structure wouldn't extend even further, so we have been tracking a potential reset of the wave 3 instead of having the wave C bottom in place. But we have broken these levels of resistance. This idea of a wave 4 is not really something I would even consider further. So we resume this idea of an ABC pattern to the previous count, where the wave C had already been fulfilled, had already completed its pattern, and we switch this to the yellow scenario instead, and we are left either with a bottom at this point or with a larger ABC pattern, which is what we have been tracking in the orange interpretation instead. Now, something else to consider within this structure is that there is a threat that this latest extension to lower prices was in fact part of a flat correction, right? A three-wave pattern where the internal wave B would have gotten an overshoot. With such a structure in place, we cannot deny the possibility of a complete wave B. However, we haven't gotten to the resistance levels, which only started at $193.6, which is why I would actually prefer to extend to higher prices even within the orange scenario, where I would be looking for a reset within this wave 4 in yellow. This does not mean it cannot extend directly lower, let's say within a different count, but this does allow me to actually prefer continuation to higher prices even within the orange structure. Is this a guarantee? No, by any means. We never have guarantees in the market. We have to be flexible, we have to have a plan in place, but it is suggestive, right? Now, in the previous video, we have been tracking two structures internally. Firstly, we have been considering a potential complete 5-wave pattern within a wave 1, which is why we have been tracking a potential wave 2 correction to have already started. We had the support zone, but we extended even higher, which is what we were considering within an internal orange structure. This is not to be confused with the wave C we have here in orange. It can work out within it, right? The wave C would be a 5-wave pattern, but also the wave 1 in yellow is able to take this form, to take part of this extension, and we can now consider a reset to have taken place because we have successfully extended to higher prices in this latest push to the upside. So our area of support in yellow is now upgraded to $166 based on the latest wave 1 top. So I am watching ideally to extend higher within a 5-wave pattern. We have the initial confirmation, the initial 5-wave move to the upside, and I'm watching the support levels between $166 down to $144.8 for the extension to even higher prices. I have to say, I currently prefer the yellow structure, especially since we haven't reached the area of resistance within this orange interpretation, because within the orange scenario, I find it rather unlikely that we can consider the wave A to have bottomed here to track something like an internal A, B, C pattern in this area. Now, there is unfortunately the case where this could turn into a larger WXY pattern, part of this wave B in orange, so it does not fully dismiss the risk of forming a more substantial top once we get our next extension to higher prices, because the high confidence structure Elliott Wave guides us to is the idea of an initial 5-wave pattern. If we can identify an initial 5-wave structure, this can work out within any time frame, but let's say we have an initial 5-wave move to the upside. We cannot assume that a correction has just taken place. This would be against the larger trend because it is an initial 5-wave pattern. But there is no corrective pattern that takes this shape. No corrective structure would be building an initial 5-wave move to the upside, which strongly suggests that either we have resumed continuation of an even higher degree trend, or this is building a larger A, B, C structure, which is a 3-wave pattern, which can be a complete correction. That is why we are always looking for the initial 5-wave pattern, and it's not because this is a guarantee, but this is what is providing us the high probabilities to look for trade setups within extremely promising risk-reward ratios, within deep retracements into our support zones between the 38.2% retracement down to the 78.6% retracement. That is why I am looking with interest for an opportunity within this support zone if we are to extend there, because I know that if we break this last level of support that currently sits at $145, if we get the sustained break below it, we would most likely see a failure of this extension within, let's say, a wave 3 or a wave C. It doesn't even matter at this point. Now, since we haven't gotten yet to this area of support, I still have to prefer continuation to lower prices. This pattern looks quite complete. If we get the RSI out again, we can even identify divergences here within the 4-hour time frame. If we go on the 1-hour time frame, they become even slightly more apparent, and on the 30-minute time frame, this is even more so the case. Now, this is not to serve as a guarantee, but it is an indicator that a wave 1 top could be in place, especially since we have just started the largest correction since this entire movement to the upside. Clearly, something is changing. Clearly, we have formed a lower low already, which would allow me to focus on the larger wave 2 correction to have already started. And even within this as a wave 2, we are also looking to form the bottom of this correction within a 3-wave pattern, which could be considered to be in place, right? This could be an A, B, C structure, but we haven't yet gotten to the area of support, and I would prefer still continuation to lower prices to complete this wave 2 in yellow. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoyed the content and want to support it directly, check out the channel membership. And other than that, let me know what else you would like me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I wish you a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.